Hello lovely people, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing my Drag Queens Choose My TBR for March. So there is a readathon that I want to participate in this month, and I've also pulled some cards ahead of time, so we'll talk about all of that stuff in a second. But first we need to discuss my February reading month. So the cards that we chose for February, which has since been put back in the deck, so I won't hold them up, but the first one was Crystal Method, which was book with a topic you don't understand, and my choice for this was How to Not Die Alone by Logan Yuri. I read this on my Kindle, but I didn't finish it. I actually DNF'd this book. Yeah, it got too anxiety inducing for me. I started to feel really panicked about the book, and what I basically realized was that I just don't have the time to really consider any of the things in the book right now. I don't have time to date. I barely have time to exist as it is right now. So I've temporarily DNF'd this. Will I pick it up later in my life or later in the year? Possibly, but for now I DNF'd that. So the crystal card that I've lost, but the card I've replaced, I've put it back in the deck for later. The next card that we had was Jinx Monsoon, which was randomized TBR. So I randomized my Goodreads TBR and I got Malibu Rising, which I did not read. So this is still on my TBR, and Jinx has gone back into the deck. The next one we had was a one-word title, and I did read this one, and I did Broken by Jenny Lawson. I gave this book, I believe, 3 stars. Why am I not prepared? 3.5 stars. So yeah, I really like how Jenny Lawson writes. I actually got this book from the library, but I listened to it all on audiobook, and I love when an author reads their audiobook because you just get everything that they intended for you to get when you're reading the book. So I loved how she told her stories. I love how much emotion she gave to it, and I like the topics that she wrote about. But by the end, I was getting a little overwhelmed with all of the content and just a little exhausted by the book as a whole. So that's pretty much why I gave it 3.5 stars. I'm looking at my Instagram review right now. It was my first audiobook ever, and I enjoyed it. So I did read that one, and that one I'm pretty sure was the only one on my TBR I actually got to. Yep, because then we got to, our last card was Evie Oddly, which was horror, and the choice for that one was Kill Them All by Pasha Mala. This one had an unfortunate turn of events, which was that I picked it up right before House of Sky and Breath came out, and so it immediately got chucked to the side. So I do plan on finishing this, and it will come up later in this video. Really weird so far, though, I will say. Very strange. So outside of my TBR game, if you remember from last month, I wasn't able to get any of the books that I needed to read except for How to Not Die Alone on the actual TBR. So in addition to not completing the TBR, I will have finished 3 books by the end of this month. So the first one that I read was Black Buck by Matteo Escarapore, and I gave this book 4 stars. I read this for our book club. I loved this book. I talked about it a bit in a vlog, but the unrelatable narrator was strong with this one. It was wild, satirical, talked about cults, racism in America, so many things, and the commentary was just spot on in my opinion. Obviously as a white woman I can't really comment on the black perspective, but from what I read and what I understand about it, it was spot on. I really felt exhausted by this book at times. I really felt like I was working in this horrible startup company that the character is working in, and I think gave it 4 stars because it sort of got out of hand towards the end of the book, but I really liked it and I read it really quickly, so I definitely recommend. And the last book that I read, oh no, and then I also read The Roommate Risk by Talia Hibbert. This was for the Spicing Up My 20s book club. I gave this one 3 stars. No plot, just vibes, and I like plot and vibes. Really, really spicy. Like definitely 4, probably on the spicy, 4 out of 5 on the spicy scale. There were some very unbelievable things in this book, like that the main male love interest had been pining over the female love interest for 7 years. A lot of very cliche things happening, but I really liked how Talia Hibbert told the story, and there are a couple of lines where I was just like, this is just like poetry. Like, it is beautiful, beautiful prose. I just don't like the characters very much or the lack of plot, but I've heard her other books, like Act Your Age, Eve Brown, and like that series is really good. My fellow book clubbers were telling me to read that, so I probably will pick up another one of her books because I really liked her. I just didn't really like this one. And then the last book that I will have hopefully finished by the end of the month, I don't have the dust jacket on it, but it is House of Sky and Breath by Sarah J. Maas. This is the sequel to House of Earth and Blood, and the second Crescent City book. So this baby is 800 pages. I'm half listening to the audiobook and half reading the book. I'm on chapter 53 right now, so that's about, I don't know, I got like just over 300 pages left to read, so I do plan to finish it by the end of February. Haven't decided what I'm gonna rate this book yet, so stay tuned to my Goodreads and my Instagram for that. I'm leaning towards 4.5 stars, but I can't decide if I like it more or less than the first one, and I gave the first one 4 stars, so we shall see. But I basically just picked it up as soon as it came out and haven't read anything else, so that's kind of why my February TBR went down the drain. But without further ado, let's jump into March. So for March, we're gonna be doing the Drag Queens Choose My TBR, but we are also doing the Tis the Damn Readathon, which is a Taylor Swift readathon. I'll leave all the information down below. I saw Jan Agaton's video about it, and you guys know I love Taylor Swift, so I was like, this is perfect for me. Obviously, I'm not gonna read all of the books that, like, I'm not gonna read a book for every album. I'm gonna read currently 4, but I might tack on a 5th book, but I'm gonna try and hit and like double up so that I get every album on here. I have like my little list with the prompt that I'm gonna do. But first of all, let us start with the TBR prompts from the game. Okay, so we're going to put the 3 cards that I did not complete this month back into the deck. We have Evie, which is a horror, Jinx, which is a random TBR pick, and then Crystals, which is a book you don't really understand. I can't find her card, so I'm just putting Aiden back in with a red sickie so we remember that is Crystals. I also cannot find my dice, so we will pull up an app on my phone. Alright, and now we're gonna pick our 4 cards for the month. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. Our first card for the month is Electra Shock. Okay, so our first card was Miss Electra Shock, and that prompt is a book featuring an underdog because Electra was the underdog in her season of Drag Race Down Under. So when I was kind of like putting together all of the books, you'll see that I picked up this book as a potential for later on, so you'll see it kind of overlap a couple of times here, but What I would really like to have done is read the next book in the ACOTAR series. I think it's this one. Is this the next one I have? A Court of Wings and Ruin? Yeah. But I really need to not read a chunky book this month. I need a break between House of Earth and Blood in January and House of Sky and Breath in February. I just can't read, like, this one's, yeah, 700 pages. I can't do that this month. I need a break. So for this prompt, I chose the Hawthorne Legacy by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. So this is the sequel to the Inheritance games, which I read last year. I loved the Inheritance games and I bought this immediately when it came out, but I have not had time to read it yet. So if you haven't heard of the Inheritance games, it's basically like Knives Out. Essentially, the main character finds out that she is inheriting millions and millions of dollars and this beautiful property from this man that she doesn't know. And all of his family has been left out of the will. She has to go live in this house to take control of everything that she has been given in the will, but his family still lives there and they're angry at her because she got everything and they got nothing and nobody can figure out why. So it's like a game kind of to figure out why she got the inheritance, hence the title. So then this is the sequel. So I'm not gonna explain like a lot of what happens in the sequel, because if you haven't read the first one, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's basically a continuation of her trying to figure out why and like what's kind of going on, and also probably continuing her potential romance with one or two of the characters from the first book. So very excited to pick this up. Yeah, this is the one for the underdog because she is the underdog. Our second card for the month is Vanjie. So for the next card, the game was very kind to me and it gifted me with our queen. Miss Vanjie, Miss Vanjie, Miss Vanjie. So we got Miss Vanjie, and I'm out of breath. This was very nice of the game because the one book that I needed to get on my TBR this month was Something to Talk About by Meryl Wilsner. This is the pick for the Spicing Up Your 20s book club. So this is a fake dating, women love women book because that is the theme for the month. So basically, this Hollywood starlet is photographed with her assistant on the red carpet, and people are like, oh, maybe they're a couple, maybe they're dating. And so they decide that, I don't know, I think they decide that they're gonna play up the fake dating kind of like trope, but then they start to realize that like maybe it's not that fake. And yeah, this was actually on my TBR before they chose it for book club. I saw it on TikTok as I think it was a sapphic, it was a list of sapphic novels where coming out, where coming out isn't the main plot of the novel. So I put this on my TBR and I picked it up as soon as it made the list for book club this month. So I'm very excited to read this, and this will be the romance pick. Our third card for the month is Acid Betty. Next we have Acid Betty, and Acid Betty's is a hardcover, and for this one, you'll see a little bit later, I played a game to decide which book, you know what, I'm just gonna talk about this now. Okay, this is a little confusing. So one of the prompts for the readathon for Evermore is randomize a book, randomize your choice. So I decided to do that for the hardcover prompt. So I have 4 hardcovers that I wanted to read. One of them is the Hawthorne Legacy, so you kind of already know I didn't pick this for the hardcover, but anyway, we have the Hawthorne Legacy, which I already explained. have A History of Wild Places by Shay Earnshaw. So this is a book about a police man who goes looking for this girl who had, or this person, I don't know if it's a girl, who has died. Yes, it's a girl. But then he disappears, and his car and stuff is found by these people in the cult that he was investigating, and the people in the cult kind of start to realize, like, maybe maybe everything that they've learned isn't exactly true, and maybe that there's an outsider in their cult. So I really want to read this. It was a book of the month pick, which I think is how I heard about it, but I don't get book of the month. But Books by Lala read this and she didn't really like it, but she didn't like it because she doesn't like cults, and I love cults, so I think I'll really like this book. The next hardcover is The Ark by Tori, Henwood, Hoen. So I just picked this one up. It literally came out like last week. This is about a girl who is like really successful in everything except dating, and then she discovers the Ark, which is a highly secretive, super sophisticated matchmaking service that uses a complex series of assessments to architect partnerships that will go the distance. So then she's matched with this guy, and like, will they fall in love? Will they realize that the dating app works, or it doesn't? The cover is beautiful. I don't know why I heard about this. I think it was on What Maddie Reads, this Instagram account that I love to follow, because she makes this whole post of all of the books that she's anticipating that are coming out for the month with a little synopsis. So then at the beginning of the month, I think I must have looked at it and written this one down, and then I picked it up the other day because it was 30% off. And the last hardcover book that I chose was Ace of Spades by Farida Abike Ayamide. Sorry, I don't know how to pronounce her name. This book has been out for a while. It is a young adult, theoretically like Gossip Girl style book. So it's about these two kids who go to this private school, and they're selected to be part of the like elite senior prefects. But after the announcement's made, somebody who goes by Aces, kind of like, I guess it's like Pretty Little Liars and Gossip Girl kind of combined, begins sending anonymous text messages to reveal secrets about the two of them that turn their lives upside down. And yeah, so they basically have to stop the this like Aces person before their lives get completely destroyed. Is the cover pretty? Oh, it's just blue. Anyway, so that is the fourth choice. I bought this a little while ago, but I've been wanting to read it, so that is the fourth choice. And in order to randomize which hardcover we're gonna be reading in order to fulfill the Evermore prompt, I'm gonna throw it over to my friend Emmy's cat, Paisley, for her decision.
Oh, she's so excited. Okay.
Whoa.
She's like so pumped. Okay. Okay, Paisley. Here.
Do you want?
Come here.
Yeah, I can.
I got it. And I won't put them on. I don't want to like get
okay.
on your books.
That's okay.
Okay, Paisley.
Okay, we got the. You ready?
Right. Which one's it gonna be, Paisley?
So, as you can see, Paisley chose Ace of Spades. She was all over this book, and I am really excited to read this, but I'm not happy with her because this is the longest one that I offered. And you guys know I'm trying to read shorter books this month. It is 400 pages. I can do that. I can do that. So that is it for the hardcover prompt. It will be Ace of Spades, and our fourth is Evie. And the final card that was chosen for the month is an old friend, Miss Evie Oddly. She is a horror prompt. We had her last month and she had to go back in the deck because we did not complete it. So I'm sure you can tell, snow just like dove off the roof. I'm sure you can tell what book we will be reading for the horror prompt, and that is Kill Them All by Pasha Mala. I'm going to finish this book. It is just over under 250 pages. I will be doing this. This might be the first one that I pick up because I just need to finish this. It is weird. It is weird. Basically, the premise is that this guy loves malls. So he writes a letter to the local mall and he's like, hello, I love malls. And they're like, cool, you can live here. And he lives there. But it's not really what he expects. And the mall is really weird. And he lives in this little like showroom on display to the public. And he has to split his time between making work and interacting with the public. But nobody really seems to be coming to the mall. And things are really weird. I don't think I've ever read a weirder book than like the first 50 pages that I've read of this. So this is the horror pick for March. Now we're gonna move on to the readathon. So we have a different prompt for every album, and I'm not going to go through all the prompts, but I will leave the website linked down below. If you played last year, it's the same prompt. I did not, but I am going to this year. So I just made my little handy list. So some of the prompts are book related, as in like you need to read a book, and some of the prompts are like other activities that you can do. So we are going to start off with Taylor Swift, the self-titled album, and for this prompt, I'm gonna post a picture of books that I'm reading. I do that anyway, it'll be super easy. If you wanna see, follow me on Instagram at MayaCatherineCreative. For Speak Now, there were two options for this. So one prompt option was reading an audiobook, and one prompt option was reading a trilogy, either the third book in a series or a book that is in a trilogy. So in order to not add an extra book to my TBR right now, I am going to temporarily use the Hawthorne Legacy to fulfill this prompt because currently there has been a third book announced in this series. I don't know if it's the last one, but I am using the fact that only 3 have been announced to say that this is a trilogy and it's my game, so. Yeah, so I'm gonna read this one. If I'm making great progress and I want to listen to an audiobook, I'm planning on getting Under One Roof by Ali Hazelwood with my credit this month. It is a novella about these 2 scientists who are roommates, basically. Ali Hazelwood wrote The Love Hypothesis, which is one of my favorite books of all time, and the 3 STEM, I don't remember what it's called, but the 3 like STEM romances that she's putting out that are novellas come out this year, but this one was released early on audiobook. So if I get to that, then that can also fulfill this prompt, but I do not know if I will get to that. So temporarily, for book that is in a trilogy, we are reading the Hawthorne Legacy. Next, we have Fearless, and Fearless, the prompt I'm choosing for this is young adult. So the Hawthorne Legacy or Ace of Spades can fit for these. These are both young adult novels. Either one will work. Next, we have Red. So Red is a book with red on the cover. So we have a couple options. Well, I think I will use Ace of Spades because it's basically all red. Actually, this is the only option because everything else I thought was red was actually pink. So Ace of Spades for the red prompt. 1989, we have the morally gray character prompt. There may be other morally gray characters. In fact, one could argue that almost every character in this series is morally gray, but I am using Kill Them All because I believe this character is morally gray, or at least the mall is a morally gray character, and I believe that that counts, so 1989 is fulfilled by this book. Next we have a 5-star prediction, and the Hawthorne Legacy is a 5-star prediction. I loved Inheritance Games. I gave it 5 stars, and I am predicting that this one will also be 5 stars because I loved the book. Super fast pace. Why wouldn't this one be the same? We shall see. Reputation, we have either Match Your Outfit to a book, or we have romance in a genre that isn't a romance. So for now, not knowing how the romance is going to blossom in this book, I am picking Hawthorne Legacy. If for some reason there is no romance in this, because this is like a mystery, it's not a romance, I will pick an outfit that matches one of the books that I'm reading, but I definitely think there's gonna be romance in this one, so. Next we have Folklore, and I currently have Cozy Outfit written down because I forgot that so the other prompt is a recommendation, and I could not figure out what was recommended to me. Camera overheated, but we're back. What I was saying was I forgot that this was recommended to me on TikTok, so it counts as a recommendation. So that will be the prompt for Folklore. This was the recommendation. And lastly, we have Evermore, which I already discussed was a randomized pick. So we had Paisley choose from the 4 hardcovers that I wanted to read, and she chose Ace of Spades. So that fits the Evermore prompt. So provided that I read all 4 books on my TBR this month and nothing else comes out to make that not happen, then we should be good and we will hit all of the prompts for the Tis the Damn Readathon. And yeah, it'll be a fun time. So just to recap here, for the underdog prompt, we have the Hawthorne Legacy. For the romance prompt, we have Something to Talk About. For the hardcover prompt, we have Ace of Spades. And for the horror prompt, we once again have Kill Them All. Second time is a charm. That's how the saying goes, right? So, yep. TBR, and I'm excited. I'm ready to not be reading Crescent City anymore, but I will finish the book this weekend. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the March TBR. Ow! Let me know what you're reading this month down below. If you're participating in the readathon, let me know. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!